Please enjoy this feature presentation of the Crooked River Radio Network. This program is rated for all audiences.
4 guys on sports. 4 guys on sports. 4 guys on sports starts now.
You know, there isn't a year that song has never meant more, because we don't give a damn about the whole state of Michigan. We won the whole flipping thing.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, buddy. I've been waiting to play that all week, ever since they won.
That intro was fire. That was nice. That was right on time. Right on time, man. Yeah, that was nice.
Anyway, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, everybody, wherever the hell you're at.
Yes, sir.
We are the 4 guys on sports. And then there's actually 4 of us today. Look at this. We got Gordon, we got Shawn, who I won't say this, but he just got his ass out of bed. And we got Nate. Good yes, God, sir. 2 weeks in a row? Jeez. Good afternoon, morning, whatever this is.
Are we sure we don't have a flu?
Oh, man, yeah.
Yeah, bird flu or what?
Well, this is a great week, too, man. It was a great week last week. Great week this week. A lot to cheer for, look for. You know, nice to have a dog in the race. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know, and just break it in, man, because we might as well jump off in there. I know it's all over and done now, but I'm going to say this. The Michigan loss for the Buckeyes was the greatest thing that could have happened to them this year. That embarrassment, that thrashing, you heard Will Howard even say it. He took it personally.
I'll tell you what, I don't really think it was the game itself. I think it was that flag planting at the end.
Yes.
I think that inspired them, and that said, you got people that are going to try to take over your turf. Are you going to let them? And that team responded overwhelmingly no. That was a whole turning point for this season.
Absolutely.
I echo that.
Absolutely. That really did it for them when they planted that flag, and it's like, okay, all right. They after that, they were, hey, you didn't want to get in their way.
Yeah.
You know, and we'll say this because at times we have been critical, very critical of the critiquing of Will Howard, especially some of us in particular.
And Ryan Day.
Some of us in particular.
Ryan Day. Yeah.
And Ryan Day. But I say this. That young man, his playoffs, it was off the charts. That boy played football, man.
I think he done a good job. You know, was there room for improvement? No one was perfect. Yeah, absolutely. But if I have one complaint, and I'm going to hold on to this, because for whatever reason, you know, and you have different people have different makeups. I have that makeup. I'm gonna go old school, and I'm going to bring up some old history, and then I'll go ahead and conclude the argument. If you remember, the Barberton Magics used to always get in trouble for thrashing people. I mean, they would open up a can of WA and they would not call off the dogs. And when the game was over, it would be an outlandish score, right? And they used to get called out for that back in the day. Barberton Magics, when during their tenure, when them boys had the Bogner boys, man, those twins, and they had Scott, man, and they had, they were bad, right? And they wouldn't play, they wouldn't mess around. They had a nice reign. And they used to get in trouble. And I never had a problem with that. I could never understand what the problem is that. Because that when you play sports, and here's what seems so weird to me. Now we come up in midpoint of this argument. You look at Michael Jordan as an athlete. Everyone praises him for this killer instinct. He's another man. He's a different kind of guy. He just won't let up. And they praise him for that killer instinct, right? He gonna kill you and make sure you're dead. Okay, on the court. Now we move up to this time here where, teams, be it an NBA game or football game, and since it's football season, since it's football playoff time, and then championship just ended, college championship, I'm talking about this. I want to see a game played from beginning to end with the intensity of trying to win the game. I don't like the play calling that looks like I'm trying not to lose the game. Here's the reason why. You always have somebody that has an impressionable mind, someone whom you can influence that wants to kind of follow. And then you also have others on your team that don't get the same opportunities to perform like those that, that are the brightest stars on the team. When you play games with that mentality of, okay, now I'm going to, let my foot up off the accelerator. I'm just going to try to coast to greener pastures. I don't like it because now you don't give the other guys an opportunity to experience that same level of intensity and come into the game and participate at that level, because they're the ones that's going to be left behind. They're the ones that's going to be there next year. So instead of growing that talent there so that they have an opportunity, you go out and you try to hire the next, and I do use that term loosely, hire the next 4 or 5 star to come in and, fill your roster back up and put them in immediate spots. When you have talent on your team that can continue to develop and get real live experience in important situations so that they can carry those experiences over to future years. So for that reason, I'm not a fan of letting off the gas, and start, walking through and going through this real status quo thing. And what we see is it almost cost Ohio State. It almost cost.
It almost did. That third quarter with those last 10 points that they scored, I'll tell you, I was watching that whole series where they scored the 7 points. And I saw in the minute or two that took for them to go down that field, I saw more missed tackles than I could ever bought on television. I saw people out of place, and it was like they were, we'll just give them one. What the hell? We're that far ahead. And then they scored another 3, and then Ohio State, I thought that woke them up, and that said, hey, you better get off your ass or you're going to lose. Mm-hmm. And, you're not playing a regular season game here. You're playing for a fucking championship. And if you ain't going to play, your ass is going to be sitting on the sideline when it's over with. And I agree with you there, Nate. I'll tell you, I like intensity, especially in that kind of a ball game. That's why I love the playoffs in the NFL. These things are like chess matches. It's one player moves here, or one set of plays moves here. the next set of plays moves there. And it's back and forth, and it's very strategic. It's not like the regular NFL games. And that's why I think a lot of these coaches will lose. You know, they won't. They'll take and kick ass in the regular season, but when it comes to a playoff game, it's a whole different ball game, and that's when they start losing. And that's why you got the Schottenheimers in this world. It's why you've got some of the other people that I can't think of. There was 2 or 3 other coaches I had in mind that they, when they get in the playoffs, they choke. Well, Butch Davis was another one, I think, if I remember rightly. They get all the way up to that level, and then they get into, well, even Stefanski last year, he got outcoached in the playoffs. Yeah, and how do you? The question of it is, how do you keep the intensity, especially with these college kids? How does it's Day's job to sit there and make these guys come up with these series of plays and that. And I think what happened with that Michigan game is the fact that there was no intensity there. It looked like they'd been all out partying the night before. Day looked like a train wreck. I don't care what anybody says. He looked like a train wreck that day. And they ended up losing.
Yeah, because that's a perfect example of what I'm saying. That was a negative. That was a negative experience going bad, or a negative experiment, I should say. Excuse me, going bad. Is that they done the same thing in the Michigan game that they done in the Notre Dame game? People forget. Ohio State had a chance to win the Michigan game. Okay, they had a chance to win the Oklahoma game. Oregon game. They had a chance to win that game. And it was the same type of a scenario. You started playing not to lose. And the thing is once you flip that switch, it's hard to flip it back on. But the thing is that college is the epitome of a training ground. And it is for players who have aspirations of going to the next level. And your responsibility is not to try to teach them how to play this game at a high level like you play rec league football for fun. Yes, the game is played for fun, but the stakes change as you get to that level, and then it's about livelihood, and it's about a whole lot more, in terms of that. But it is your livelihood then. And I don't know how you perform and you play the game in a way to where you play it like, man, there's no more little babies and kids and stuff. I mean, that's the reason why they've gone a little bit overboard with the penalties for taunting. I'm like, yeah, you should not be able to do something egregiously where you can't like score and then elbow somebody and kick them in the butt or something. But I got you, I scored on you, and then they penalty, that is so foolishness, man. That is part of the game. And part of the game is as much mental as it is physical. And all of these things is that. And to be able to keep the level of intensity up on a game when you beating a team like that, that is a mental message that you're sending. And you're not just sending it to that team, you're sending it across, across the league, across, whatever conference you're in or whatever. That's a message that's resounding. And so I'm not a fan. I'm just not a fan. I don't think it teaches anything positive at that level. I don't think there's no benefit to it. It's silly.
I hear what you're saying, and I agree to a point. A couple of reasons why. First off, you got to understand, everybody, as we say, some guys, some of them just have that dog in them. I mean, they just, if it's one bone and you put 3 dogs in a room, he gonna come up with the bone. You know what I'm saying? That's that. There's players around in the league. Can't stand him, but he's one heck of a player. What's his name? Greenlaw played for 49ers. That dude he's a different animal. Back in the day, Aaron Donald, he was a different animal. Hey, I'm going to give it to you every play, every time. I'm coming at you. Now, every guy out there doesn't have that same makeup. They don't have it where they can just keep it going all the time. And that's the thing. That's part of it. Okay. Now, the other part of that is this. In college, especially in college, high school, college, all these other, okay, there's going to be 3 or 4 players on the team. There's some players on the team that's just that much better than everybody else. Now, but for that kid that shows up to practice, practices hard, he give you 100%, but his 100% just ain't as good as your 100%. But when you up, then I want to put him in the game, but also I want him to know, dude, you go hard the whole time. AI was another one. AI went hard. He didn't care. He just had that dog in him. Little dude. He just had that dog in him. Kobe Bryant had that dog in him. He didn't care if you put girls out there. Hey, if I score 100 on him, you shouldn't have put him out here. That's what I like about Kobe Bryant. That there's certain players that have that, and I agree with you. And I think every team needs some of that. But at the same time, some of those guys, they get so over the top, they don't know how to lose gracefully when they lose. Because if you kick my behind, man, all I can say, good game, man. Man, you bust my butt, man. You hand me 40, you put 40 on my head, and I know I've been on you, but I just couldn't stop you after the game. As a man, I'm gonna say good game. Now, some of them guys that have such dog in them, when they get beat, they don't know how to lose. Mm-hmm. So there's a thin line in there, but as a coach, what you do as a coach is what they should have done. Because I looked at some of the plays he was calling, I'm like, what the ham sandwich is this man doing? As a coach, you say, hey, look, we're going to keep our foot on the gas, but everybody I put in the game, you stay on the gas, because the other part is you getting your experience, you getting your game time. You may never get to play in another national championship, but this kid shows up every practice, man, practices hard, he grades up, he's doing all these things. So I'm going to start sprinkling some of them in there because I know some of these cats are gone. That's the way you do it. So I agree with you to a point, because it's going to let up some, because now you don't have the caliber in there that you had. Mm-hmm. Okay, I got to sit Nate down because Nate has already run for 225 yards on him.
And he's bandwagoning.
And so now I got to put Gordon in, because he's not that dude that can get you 225 yards in a game like this. Now he'll get you some yards, but he's gonna play hard. So you got, as a coach, you got to keep those second stringers, the other players coming off the bench. You got to keep them motivated.
Yeah.
But the play calling he did was not good. It was, like you said, everybody saw it. He was playing, okay, we got to lead. We're going to rock on. No, one of the things I liked about, I want to say, may have been Miami back in the day. They didn't care about style points. They wanted to score points.
Same thing with Steve Spurrier. Yeah, same thing. The old ball coach. He wasn't going to sit there, man, and pacify you and play you like a baby. He's going to beat you.
You know what? We're going to we drop it on your head. Now, the other side of that, as a player, I didn't mean to cut you off, Pat, but I'm going to say this now. I'll stop. The other side is this. Okay, y'all up by 40 points.
Yeah.
And, instead of dribbling out the clock and it's 3 seconds left, you running in, you're going to try and dunk the ball on me. Guess what? You're going to wind up on the floor. That's my intensity. Because I'm not going to let you just, my point is this. As a player, my intensity is I'm not going to let you just rub my nose in it. It's crap out there on the floor. Now I ain't going to let you rub my nose in it. Wouldn't you?
See, that's my point. I'm okay with that. But I'm not okay with, I'm a dribble. They still keep stats. They don't have a separate trash time stat versus game time. It's just a stat. And I'm not going to have a turnover. If I can have a game and don't have a turnover, I have a turnover. So, I don't get that. I'm not a fan of that stuff. You know, I want start to finish play, period. That's what I want to see. And I want to see coaches actually utilize a roster so you can develop the roster, not sit there and play this passive manner not to lose, because you don't teach anything. So now you got a bunch of guys that had an opportunity that could have learned that you didn't let them learn because you kept your guys in there, your main core guys, and you played the game in a manner not to lose. It's so foolish to me.
You just made me think of something. I know what I said, Pat. I'm sorry, but football. All right, you got the lead, you got the ball, and what do you feel about these teams getting basically, taking that knee, going into their victory formation?
That's what I'm saying. I'm not a fan. I'm a fan.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate.
On the 30-yard line, yeah. But if you're right there on the 2-yard line, go in and score the freaking ball. Give the other team to get an onside kick and whatever it is.
If you got your starters in the game and you know that and this is the championship now is one thing, but let's say you got other games coming up or you're in the playoff. Okay, so y'all not getting in victory formation, or we saw one where they faked it like they was getting in victory formation, and then they hit you with one, But my thing is this: you out there like that, last play of the game, or you still trying to score, you trying to rub my nose in as a football player. That's when players get hurt too. So you got to be careful about that.
But that's discipline, though. Because think about this: that's discipline. As a coach, as a parent, everything's discipline. Is that you got to teach self-control. There's a right way. You win graciously and you lose graciously. Okay, exactly. It hurts to lose, and it feels it's jubilant, wonderful to win, right? And particularly to win, quote unquote, the big one, right? But what I'm saying is, it's unfortunate you lose, but that's the reason why you bring your best effort. You can't it's a level of immaturity when you come in and you're irritated because they beat you so bad. You don't take that and you, in other words, you put it in you and you get the wrong energy from it. The energy that you're supposed to get from is that, you know what, you got me this time, but I'm going to prepare in such a manner that you ain't going to get me like this again.
Well, all I'm saying is this. If I see your quarterback dropping back and they're going to throw for the end zone, and they already up, and this is probably potentially the last play of the game anyway, man, and I'm an edge rusher, I'm gonna hurt somebody.
Yeah, but you should be playing that way anyway, but legally.
No. Before I was playing the game and I was playing hard, but this time I'm gonna hurt somebody.
But that's the point I'm making. See, that's the thing.
That's the way I'm wired, though.
If you have athletes that are wired that way for whole game, is that I'm coming for you. And that's what I was saying about Philly, about the Commanders in Philly. That's the message that they sent out. They said, we're coming for you. And I like that because that's the game. Okay, they're not trying to cripple him for life. But if I can hurt you and make you have to sit down on the bench and watch this game from the sideline, so be it. You can mend up and be okay and walk around fine next week.
I don't care if the ball's out of his hand. I'm folding his ass like a lawn.
But that's not real football.
And I know that's not, but to me, you already won the game. There's not getting that last touchdown. But you drop back, I'm taking your knees out, man.
But let me explain what that is. That's the equivalent of a guy who gets in trouble for a premeditated crime. But you can't see, but you have to control. That has to be controlled.
It's just a penalty to me. It might be a fine, but it's a fine. I'll pay it. Sometimes it's worth it.
But that's not worth it. You got to, because the game has to be taught the right way. You teach, just like you teach to play the game, you have to teach how to win, and you have to teach how to lose.
But my thing is this.
There's a right and a wrong.
My thing is this. Agreed. But my thing is this. Okay, we back there, man. We already up by 21 points. And we inside the red zone. We at the 20. Instead of taking a knee, it's like 7 seconds left in the game. I'm going to drop back and throw the ball for a touchdown. No, I'm not doing that.
But you know what it's saying? It looks like to me.
Tell me that. I won the game.
But it looks like, you know what it looked like to me, though, for me, as an athlete, if I'm on this, like, oh, they took pity on us. I'm like, I don't like that. I want your best shot. I don't. I'm playing you,
exactly. And that last play,
pity on me.
that last play. But my point is this: that last play, it could be your best shot, and it could be that other player's best shot, and it could be a clean play. And now you done got a torn ACL.
Well, but that's there.
Well, you was already up 21 points. You know what I'm gonna say as a fan? Why did you do that?
No, you're gonna say why did you have him in the game?
Now it's one thing. It's one thing to send your third string in and tell them to go play hard. That's what I said earlier.
Yes, that's what I'm getting at.
That's fine. But when you send in, when you still got your starters in the game and they drop back, I don't care if it's Pat Mahomes and hey man, and I'm playing for the Dallas Cowboys and I'm some no-name defensive end. Man, I'm gonna break Pat Mahomes in half. Jaden Daniels, whomever.
Don't let that game be in Kansas City because they're gonna beat you down. No,
you know what they're gonna do? They're gonna find you. I don't care. And you know what's gonna happen? Other players on your team gonna chip in and pay your fine. But anyway.
Well, there's a couple points I'd like to add here, if you don't mind.
Yes, sir.
Number one, we talked about you just talked about the intensity and all that. And as far as Ohio State goes, I'm not sure that that's all on Ryan Day's shoulders because you got a very strategic play caller there with Chip Kelly. Yeah. And that was what I watched. I thought the last part of that game when they started from about beginning of the third quarter, you could tell the way they were playing was Kelly's style. And he was throwing in plays there that they hadn't used the whole game. And for Ryan Day to be actually calling those plays, I don't really think he was. The other thing that business that you were just talking about with down on the 2-yard line. There's two different ways that's the rule of thumb there, and I don't agree with either one of them. Number one, you're supposedly doing it so that you run it down to the 2-yard line, then you have to have 4 plays to try to get it in, and then you're just going to try to sit and run the clock out. And a lot of times they don't want the other team to even have 5 seconds left.
Right.
Because 5 seconds can be disaster. So they said, no, we run it down to the 2-yard line and bang 3 times. And, if we may get a field goal. We may just go for it. We'll see what happens. Well, that's not the kind of intensity I like. If they're going to flip and score, go score. I don't care what Vegas says. And I think a lot of that shit's done for Vegas. I really do. Vegas is a very controlling entity anymore with this betting systems through this country. And it almost, I hate to say this, but a lot of times it's almost like watching the world of wrestling. Because it's 3WE. It just seems like it. Heaven forbid, I should say it's rigged. But sometimes you just know what the result's going to be. Sometimes you can actually see them play, but sometimes, dinking like that, they're keeping the score down. They're wanting to keep it in the spread.
I got a conspiracy theory. Whenever you hear the announcers talk about, they haven't had an interception or
exactly, and I'll tell you what, that happened twice during that Ohio State game, Sean. Twice.
Yeah.
Ohio State hasn't had a turnover, and all of a sudden the ball gets turned over. Yeah. And Ohio State
never fumbles.
And then
Ibuka fumbles.
And
It's funny.
it's in the second to the last game there. In fact, I think I still got that. Let me play it quick. I got to change something here, so hang in there. But wait a minute. I may have that here. I don't think I took it off. No, I didn't. I took it off. Let me switch over here. It's going to take me a second. Oh, crap. I got rid of that.
Postseason climb in the history of the sport. And after all that, it's Ohio State together at the mountaintop. Champions of college football.
So-and-so make a run, and all of a sudden we're at the 40-yard line. The next thing you know, the ball's in the end zone. And, that kind of shit makes me think, oh, this is rigged. That's rigged. Don't you guys think that? Oh,
I don't know.
it's about time for a fumble. Oh, we fumbled. It's about time for we haven't seen a long run the whole game. Oh, look at that. He's put the 40, 30, 20. Give me a break.
It's interesting. It is interesting, but yeah, it's interesting. But the fumble thing, timing of it, the turnover, whatever, it was like, keep your mouth closed, you jinxing them. My goodness. I mean, as soon as he said it, man.
And you can always tell by the
push the ball out.
By whoever.
Yeah, I know. As soon as he said it.
You can always tell by whoever's narrating the game who's gonna win. If they're on Baltimore's side, Baltimore's gonna kick their ass. If they're playing for Kansas City, Kansas City's gonna win. Oh, look at this.
But yeah,
the flop.
Yeah, but yeah, I hear you. That was so timely though when he said that about the fumble and Ibuka fumble. But I say this: the end of the game, and I can't believe that. Well, I knew they were going to go after Will Howard, but they ran zero blitz, and that boy out there, that receiver, he said it. That kid said it, and he wasn't being cocky. He's like, there's no one guy out here that can stop me in college football. And they did that, and what happened? He got burned. And because Will Howard, he put a lot of air under it because, and he's getting it out because the heat was coming. It was coming. Mm-hmm. And, man, if he hadn't had to slow down, he would have.
That's what I was going to say. Had he put a little more air under it, he'd been in the end zone.
He put too much air. If he could have threw it just a little bit flat.
Yeah, when I say if he put more distance on it, excuse me, I should say it.
Yeah.
He put a little more distance on it. But it was, I'm not going to say it was nice. It was a nice toss, man. It was nice.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It was nice.
Yeah, because the heat was coming, and he got rid of it. But they no safety back there, nothing. I was like, golly. But they took a chance.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say this. Notre Dame's coach, that dude's a pretty good coach.
Yeah, he's a young guy, man.
Young guy.
He got some time. He's a young guy, yeah. Yeah, young guy, man. He's got some time, man. He's got opportunity.
But again, the things that happened early in the season with Michigan prepared Ohio State for that moment. And that was one of the best things that could have happened to them this year.
I think so too. Number one, it's just hard anyway to go undefeated and win the championship anyway, to be honest.
True. It is. So,
it usually helps. Some adversity along the way helps.
Yeah. And they had two. And and then I watched that running back, man, and that boy there, he had a heck of a game.
Mitchell?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a wonderful game, man. It was a good game. It's just that I just didn't like I just don't want them to take the foot off the pedal, but it was a good game,
and I agree with you. The where they took the foot off the pedal a little bit was the play call. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that was more so it than anything. Because in that also because of this right here, you have to keep guys motivated, because sometimes it's hard to play with a big lead because you do lose that intensity.
Because the other team where they were tight initially, they just get super loose. And Notre Dame got super loose, man, because it was like, my goodness, man. They were coming out the bag.
Because really the game before against Texas was actually the best game in that playoff as far as intention.
Yeah.
I mean, man, that was, because you think about it, Texas had an opportunity to go down there and tie that up.
Yeah.
And boy, not that ball. I don't even know who that kid was that got the ball and took it out.
Jack Sawyer.
Yeah.
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 But it was great. Now moving on, and we got to talk about Jalen Daniels.
Yes, sir, baby.
Nate's on that bandwagon now. Before he was denying him.
Oh,
he was
no.
like Peter. You were like Peter, man.
No. I tell you, my issue, the issue I ever had with Washington was I didn't, it was hard for me to love Washington because I felt like, I couldn't understand why I felt like it was disloyal the way they done RG3. When it's a long time. Man, the whole team, man, they turned against him, man. I mean, the dude got hurt, man. He put his life on the line for that bum franchise. He was carrying, and people forget he was carrying that team. And then when he got hurt, and then we said, they got people getting, you had the locker room people getting jealous, but the coach never wanted RG3, the one that had him. And so, man, it never went right. And I felt like they just threw him under the bus. It was no longer, they weren't protecting him, they weren't supporting him. And it was terrible. And it just went, and it took a long time for them to, kind of turn that around.
I'm going to say this, and this is my fear for Jalen Daniels, is because he runs the ball so much, he's not a big guy. He's not as big as, like, say, Lamar or someone like that. But, and he can clearly throw the ball. The boy can throw the ball.
They need some more pieces, though.
But, and I'm going to say this. What could happen to him is what happened to RG3. Now, when RG3 came in the league, they were running an offense that just teams weren't ready for. But they got ready. They learned how to play against that. And to me, they never adjusted. And RG3 was RG3. He knew this. I'm gonna take the ball and I'm gonna run with it. We're gonna do these this option play here where and I'm gonna pull the ball and I'm gonna take off. Well, and RG3 wasn't a big guy, so he wasn't going to last long.
Yeah.
He just was not going to last long doing that. Michael Vick, that dude was built more like a running back. And I'll say this, shelf life of running backs aren't very long anyway.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that's my fear for this kid.
But I think that here's what I hope takes place with Washington. What I hope takes place is before they give Jaden his bag, because you're going to have to give him one. Before they do that, I hope they go out and get some more pieces. They need a few more pieces, man. They're right now they're winning because of him. And that's the thing. And it's really because of him, because he's literally a superstar. They're winning because of his effort. And they're going to have to add a few more pieces there. They're going to have to do that so that they can really sustain. Otherwise, what I see happening with Washington is I see the same thing with Washington that we see with Cincinnati and Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow, people forget, man, ain't that long ago. Joe Burrow went in there, turned that franchise around, man, just crazy, playing good, man, taking them all to the playoffs, all this, that, and the other. And now look at him. And Joe is still playing crazy lights out football, and they ain't so hot. So if they don't take this opportunity to get a few more pieces in there to help this kid sustain what they're doing, look at the Philadelphia model, what they've done to, bolster that roster to make sure that that team can continue to be successful. So I hope they look at something like that and try to add some pieces there, because they They're not all the way there at all. Even to be honest, their receivers aren't like that. I mean, they're okay. But when you got a guy that can put, accuracy of Jaden Daniels, can place the ball, come on, these are still NFL receivers. You should be able to catch those. So, I'm looking at it like that, but they definitely need some more help. And they need it in a lot of places. They need some better backs, they need some better folk on both sides of the ball on the line. They need some better shit. They need some more pieces. So I'm hoping they can do something to get that, and finish this climb that they're on. And then we'll be able to say, like in those old faithful words of the Dallas Cowboy fans, it's our year, baby. We going all the way.
Speaking of the Cowboys, to see who they hired.
Yeah, buddy. So I guess Dion didn't want the job, or they didn't want Dion.
Well, Dion, that was just media stuff because there was not really a formal interview done with him.
But I think they interviewed him or talked to him at least.
They talked. Jerry called him, but there wasn't a formal one done. But and I say this right now, it would have been more of a circus, I think, had Dion been here with Dallas. It would have been a circus. And the thing of it is this. It's going to be pretty much the same old. Schottenheimer, my understanding is, wasn't he there with Jason Witten for a little bit?
I don't know.
I think there's some tie to Jason Witten. So it's going to be the same old stuff. It's going to be, as everyone says, Jerry is, he going to let you know who's in control of that team.
It's not going to be Marty Ball? I'm disappointed.
And
I remember Marty Ball, don't you? Marty Schottenheimer?
Yeah.
Man.
But, it's not, it's going to be the same old thing. But we will say it, although we don't believe it, we're going to say next year's our year, man.
Yeah, like I told you earlier, Gordon, the Browns and the Cowboys are both going to the Super Bowl.
There you go.
They'll be up in the seats watching it like everybody else will.
But yeah, it was Prime was never the dude. There was the $8 to $10 million buyout he'd have to do with Colorado to get him on top of, but he just wasn't that dude. Not yet. And
so look, go ahead and finish your thought.
It was Pete Carroll.
So let me ask y'all this. So who do you think? What's the Browns going to do? Okay, because they got a draft pick. They got a pretty fair draft pick, pretty fast draft stands. What are they going to take?
I have consulted some of the better beat reporters around here. In fact, we had Chico Borman on the other night, and we were talking about what they're going to do with that pick. He seems to think they're going to trade down to 5 or 6. There's somebody that they want to take before, I think it was Arizona. So they're probably looking to trade down a little bit. They're wanting to acquire draft picks with it. Plus, they're going to try whoever's at that position. In other words, what I think they're going to do is what they hinted at the end of the season. When they found out what the draft pick was going to be, we're going to take the best player at the position that we are. And I'm seriously thinking they're going to trade down. I wouldn't be a bit surprised. They're really, the thing that we were talking about the other night is there's really no quarterback that could be at that number 1 or number 2 slot. But if you drop to 7, 6, or 7, there's 1 or 2 that start showing up on the radar there. And therefore, I don't see.
So
I don't see the Browns wasting that pick. I really don't. What's that?
Connection problems.
Oh, you're okay here now. Well, like I said, I just don't see them wasting that pick. They're going to probably drop to 5 or 6, get a couple of draft picks for this year and next. I think they've been offered up to 4 from the last thing I read, and they'll probably pick 5 or 6 in the draft.
I'm looking at something. It's talking about one of the things on.
Now we are having connection problems here.
The table. So the Browns are thinking about taking the number 2 pick, 4 picks in a trade, so that they can better position themselves. But whatever they do, obviously they need to strike gold because right now they suck.
From what I'm hearing, they're really looking to try to get something as far as either a running back or a wide receiver out of wherever they end up picking at. And there's a couple of them that are available that would be available at 2, or it would be available at the lower places too, 5 or 6. I don't see them going below 6 myself. I think that would be suicide.
If they could get 4 picks for their 2, though, they could probably do some pretty good things.
Yeah,
you know.
Now, mind you, they're not going to get four first round picks.
Yeah, but they may get 2 2-rounders and 2 something else or number 2 picks.
Because you in the NFL, you get second round picks. You usually gonna get good picks too.
Yeah, but you figure, because the Jets definitely want Shador. Well, I don't know if the Jets want Shador. I don't know who they want.
Giants.
I don't see him. I wouldn't see him coming.
Deion said that he wasn't going there.
Deion said that he wouldn't let him come to Cleveland.
Yeah, he ain't going. He don't want to go to Cleveland. And I think Cleveland, Cleveland kind of heard that. Well, he didn't say Cleveland per se, but, for all intents and purposes, everybody knows what he's talking about.
And I'm going to say this about Shador. That kid, he's not coming in the NFL ready. He doesn't have that size, and he's not that very fast. Now, he's not going to come in and be like a Jaden Daniels.
But see, in terms of size and all that, it's pretty consistent. And saying so, but I think he's NFL ready. I just don't think that he's NFL ready to go to Cleveland.
Do you think he's NFL ready for an above 10 pick?
Yeah,
I don't see that.
I think that Shedeur Sanders, if he goes, man, if he gets to play for hardball, and which is who really wants him, I think, man, he's going to be solid gold. It depends on where he goes, but if he came into Cleveland, I think it would be disastrous.
They compare him in terms of NFL comparison right now. Geno Smith.
Insult. I think he's better than that. He's far smarter. He's better. We'll see because come on, they've missed on many quarterbacks. I can't help but think about Lamar Jackson. My God, I don't know if have they missed a quarterback more than the Lamar Jackson estimate?
I don't know where they stand in that, but they told
Lamar that he can't. They didn't even think he should be a quarterback.
You had that with Tom Brady too.
Well, look how many teams missed on Pat Mahomes.
Brady was a 7th
but I don't
round
think
pick.
they thought Pat Mahomes. They missed on Pat per se, but they didn't think Pat wasn't even worthy as an NFL quarterback. So that's a little bit different. That's man.
I don't know what they thought, but man, that dude he's clearly a game changer. And I'll say this about him. Any game that they're in and it's close,
you got a chance.
You got a chance with him. The dude is a closer. He is what he is. He's one of those type of players.
So they can not get it right, but I don't. I'm not saying by no means. I'm not saying Shador is a Lamar Jackson type, But I think he'll be a great NFL quarterback. But I honestly don't think any quarterback go to Cleveland going to be a great NFL quarterback.
Well,
I don't care if you put Pat Mahomes over there. I think he'll stink in Cleveland.
My thing is, the reason I say he's not ready. He doesn't come in ready to take over and start for a franchise. To me,
I think he does. I think it's where he goes, because if you look at them games, I looked at a lot of Colorado games. He didn't have a lot. He forget a lot. He had a very little. He had an inferior line.
He had some really good. He's got good receivers.
Yeah, he had good studs like that, but he had an inferior line.
Yes.
Which is the reason why initially he took a lot of sacks. You got, and that's come on, man. When you can throw the ball, you're a quarterback. The number one thing you need is a line. You need that. That's as important as your receivers. You got to have somebody throw it too, but you need somebody to give you at least a few seconds to throw it. And you figured he had to be a magician back there, to throw the ball. So, and folk looked at that. So I'm thinking, depending upon where he goes, he can be good. I just don't think I don't know if there's a quarterback that I think could be successful in Cleveland's system. The best quarterback that they could get, they need a young veteran. To me, Justin Fields would probably be a good pick. He has had his ups and downs. He has taken a lot of lumps. He was a tackle dummy in Chicago, so he's had the worst. Okay. So I don't think Cleveland can be any worse than his experience was in Chicago. And then he's had some pretty good times in Pittsburgh. So he's learned, and I think he's grown. So I think he could be okay. Do I think he'd take him to the Super Bowl? Of course not. But do I think that he would be better than a serviceable quarterback? Absolutely, in that particular situation. But they need somebody, not necessarily even him, but they need something like that.
Something like that, or something like Baker.
Cordy got joked. But you know what? This version of Baker, this slightly more mature version of Baker, could probably be all right in Cleveland for a couple games every now and again.
You know what? Though? In all seriousness, Nate, I think you're right in that, because he's a bit more mature now. Because that was always the thing to me with him was that not great, but he's a better than average quarterback. If there was just something between the ears with the dude, and I think he's figured it out now. He's settled down.
But you know what? You got to blame Cleveland a lot for that. Cleveland did that to him. They took that rookie quarterback and they treated this dude like he was Tom Brady up in there. All the stupid commercials. This is my home, my field, they went too far with him too quick. As a rookie quarterback, look at man. Come on, man. Look at Stroud as a rookie, successful, whatever. He don't have all that kind of coverage. Look at Jaden Daniels. He don't have that kind of coverage. Look at Joe Burrow. He got a commercial, but he don't have that kind of stuff that they did with Baker Mayfield. I don't even understand what that was about.
You know what it is, though, Nate? It's called marketability. And some cats have it, but because you have marketability, it doesn't always equate to your success on the field. So, some people are just more marketable. You look at guys, I hate to use this as extreme, but Marshawn Lynch. That dude was, man, he's almost like an animal out there. You put the ball, man, he got out there, man, between the lines, man, and he was like an animal. But marketability, media, they didn't know what to do with that dude. He's matured and he's better now, but my point is that. And one of the things that they were able to do with him was marketability. This dude can sell our product. So we're ultimately, as a company, I want money. So if this dude is marketable and he can bring me more money, I don't care what his game is like. So long as he can sell my product, hey, we're good.
Yeah.
So what do we think that Cleveland's going to do with Deshaun? He can't stay healthy in season or off season.
They're going to keep him one more year. He may not play, but they're going to keep him one more year.
The sad thing is the stiffs they got on the roster, they don't have any choice, man.
The thing of it is, too, is when they restructured him the last time, and I read this on one of the local sports things that are fairly up to date with what's going on with him. When they restructured him, they took out an insurance policy on him. And for every game that he doesn't play, they get almost $1.2 million. They get his salary back.
They'll probably sit him every game.
And from what I've understood of the situation, they're going to probably, if he does play, it ain't going to be for very long. And they'll just sit him on the bench if he can play. The thing of it is, you got to remember, he was walking around in Miami, Florida without this boot on, and he re-injured himself. And they don't think he's going to be game ready until the end of, and if at the end of the season next year. So he may.
And I guess
he hurt himself trying his.
Any way you look at it, he's done here. And
you look at, and then it's like, who we got to throw the ball to now anyway? In Cleveland's, man. I'm like, I've never, man. People tell, they doing a great job.
Well, we talked about this too the other night. There's really nobody worth bringing here. You could bring Kirk Cousins in here, and he'll give up on him too. The one I would like to see come here, and he'll be a free agent. I'm pretty sure is Justin Fields. That is a decent possibility, but I don't know if Pittsburgh's going to let him go.
Yeah, I don't think Pittsburgh is, first of all, Pittsburgh playing games. They're not trying. I mean, but that's Pittsburgh's thing. That little, they're very closed on the way they do business, man. And it's like they're being real strategic. And first of all, person had to be crazy not to know what Pittsburgh was doing. Pittsburgh knew that if Justin played too many snaps, then okay, the drafts, that's a draft status swap. Okay, so they sat there and did what they did. It wasn't like they were going to win the Super Bowl anyway. People would be happy if Pittsburgh just made the playoffs. Hey, Tomlin done it again, got them in the playoffs, yada, yada, yada. Okay, we can accomplish that, with Wilson. We're not going to jeopardize, man, this draft position, by allowing Fields to get these extra snaps. I mean, it's apparently obvious to me because it came clear that after a few games, the high that you got from putting Wilson in the game, it dissipated. And it clearly looked like Fields was the better overall, quarterback.
I thought so too.
Compared to Wilson. Wilson had a better long ball, but that was it. And he was very limited, so he couldn't do anything else. And if he couldn't, get that long ball, he can't even move the ball.
Yeah, so, Wilson's only been a second-string quarterback most of his career. You wouldn't put him up with somebody that's like that Buffalo Bills quarterback, Josh Allen. You wouldn't put him in the same league there. And, to me, this is just playing around. For them to, if the rumor comes true that they bring Cousins in over here, I ain't going to watch it.
Man, they'd be better off bringing Flacco up in there, man.
The other rumor was Aaron Rodgers.
Rodgers ain't leaving.
I've heard a lot of that too.
Jets not going to let him go. He gonna play, and I think he's in a good place now with himself, to where they bring in a younger guy, he'll work with him, and because even when Rodgers plays, we see glimpses of Rodgers, literally glimpses. We don't see the Rodgers that everybody
When we were talking to Borman the other night, we were talking about the Baker fiasco too. And I told him, I said, I don't think Baker would have ever matured here. And he flipping wanted to disagree with me. And he would have never made it here.
Baker would have never made it there. And particularly if he was there now, he wouldn't be doing well. Come on, he doesn't even have the same. When he was there, he had, to me, in my opinion, I know y'all would disagree with me, but when Baker was there, that team was pretty much loaded. They should have been a contender.
Well,
Baker
look at what Baker was given in Tampa. And that's what I told Borman. I said, he lucked out about as much as Bill Belichick did when he went to New England. Everything was in place for him. All he had to do was play and play decent. And then look where it got him. I said, Baker's not a bad player, but the whole thing about Baker is he's always going to be Baker. Yeah, he's always going to get flustered. He's always going to throw an interception. When he gets flustered, he gets happy feet and looks like a penguin. I just don't. He would have never worked here, and he's always going to be Baker wherever he goes.
But look at the way Baker performed in Carolina when he didn't really have much. My point is that, okay, he grew and matured, but if you put him in Cleveland, it would be the same thing as him being in Carolina, basically. He's not.
Yeah, right now, pretty much, yeah. But.
We need to probably get into the picks and stuff like that. It's getting, oh crap, we almost got 12:30 here. So let's get into the picks for the week.
Okay.
Yeah, Gordon, we picked your picks for you last week.
Yeah, Gordon, you got.
I was undefeated.
You're not admissible.
There you go.
All right. We got Buffalo and Kansas City in the first matchup.
What we do last week? How bad did Gordon get beat up?
Gordon had 0. So
Gordon didn't have 0. We
I had 0 wins and 0 losses.
We picked pretty well for him.
If we went with Gordon's picks, how would he have done?
I'd have won.
You probably would have been tied with Dad and I. We each had 2.
You're welcome, Gordon.
Nate had 3. Nate won last week.
That's because I won.
That's not surprising. Gordy,
That's because I wasn't.
Tell Gordy what we picked last week, though. Because Gordy would have picked what we picked.
Man,
Gordon may have picked different.
No, you would have picked what we picked.
Gordon. We're talking about Gordon.
Okay. G-Dog, Gordon, Gordy, either way, you would have picked what we picked because we know you, man. We know you.
Y'all don't know me, man. Y'all don't know me. Y'all don't know Ned.
all right.
Look, okay, right here. Let me ask you this. Look at this, Gordon. Who's winning this game between Philly and the Commanders?
Here you go.
I'll take Philly.
No, don't say nothing, Pat. Don't say nothing. Gordon, who you picking? Huh?
I'm taking Philly.
My point, we already know how you roll. See?
Okay. I think Philly has a better defense.
They got, well, you figured, you figure you got what? You got 14 going against 11.
They got better defense. They got an edge.
14 going against 11, man. It's pretty good odds.
Yeah, we know they got the Commanders on that one.
Yes, sir, baby. It's our year, baby.
I'm going Philly.
Yeah, I'll take Philly too.
Y'all haven't learned nothing yet.
All right, the next game is, from Buffalo and Kansas City.
That's a hard pick there. That's hard.
That one there because, and I'm going to say this, Buffalo has never beat them in the Pat Mahomes there in the playoff.
It's going to depend on what the refs do to make him win.
And keep in mind,
think about this.
Keep in mind, nobody's really run on them much this year.
But keep in mind this. Had it not been for a few muff plays, drop ball with the Ravens, it'd be the Ravens in Kansas City.
There's the winner right there for Kansas City.
That's the winner, right? That's the same winner for.
But you know what? You know what?
For Philly.
KC, they playing in KC. So as bad as I want to go with Buffalo, I'm gonna take KC.
I mean, that's a hard game. That is going to be.
Look at where they're playing.
That's going to be down to the wire.
And that defense been keeping them in games. And if the game is close down the stretch, you got to take Pat, man.
I agree with you, Gordon. I would really, really like to take Buffalo.
I would too, but I'm going with Kansas.
My senses are saying that we, I can't go with my heart here. I got to go with what makes sense, and I guess Kansas City is what makes sense as far as that's concerned. And the fact that will be too is when Mahomes starts kissing the ass of the officials, it's going to turn the game around.
That's the only reason why it makes you think that to me it just seems like the script has already been written for Philly and Kansas. They want to see them two.
Yeah, I kind of think you're right.
The refs are dragging Philly there and they're dragging Kansas there. And that's how I feel. But I feel like if we can silence the three and just have 11 on 11, then I feel like Commanders is winning. But if it's got to be 11 against 14.
And I'm going to tell you why I disagree with that, Nate. All in all, overall, I'm just saying like this. Philly has the better team. Now, don't get me wrong. Where they can be beaten is their quarterback because he is known to have some issues, turnover issues.
What?
But, I mean, they're just overall, they're a better team.
Just look, okay, with that being said, what's their record this year against each other?
They split.
Thank you.
Right. And you know why they split? Oh, boy went down. He didn't play that game.
How'd he go down? Did he slip on a banana peel?
Hurts didn't play that game, so...
Let me ask you this, though. Now, hear me now. How did he go down?
They took their playmaker away. And
let me ask you, though.
Saquon gonna tear y'all up.
Let me ask you this. Did you see a banana peel on the field by Hurts's foot? I just want to know.
I don't know.
It was cold out. It was cold out. He slipped on some wet turf.
The referee dropped a banana peel.
I didn't see a banana peel.
It was green. You wouldn't see it.
But there again, and I'm talking about a team when you look at the Washington team, you're talking about a team that lost to who? The Dallas stinking Cowboys.
What? Yeah. But didn't they beat Philly?
Lost to Dallas Cowboys, man.
But they beat Philly.
So who are you taking, Nate?
Between which one?
KC and Buffalo.
I'm for some reason my mind is telling me Buffalo, but I'm rolling with KC because
you know what?
I think it's.
I'm gonna switch. I'm gonna take Buffalo just for argument's sake.
You probably should take Buffalo because I think Buffalo's gonna win. To be honest, but
I'm taking Buffalo just for argument's sake.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be Buffalo.
Yeah,
but I'm going with KC because I just feel like I think that. For whatever reason, it's like, how you go through these times and everybody wants to see history made. They want to see a 3P, all this stuff like that, man. So, they tug them along, right? And I feel like for that reason, they're going to get they're going to get some very favorable calls, just like I know Philly has been getting favorable non-calls all year long. I'm like, I've never seen a team that gets away with more holds than Philly.
I think I'm gonna change my pick, Sean. I want Buffalo.
Okay.
I'm in agreement with Gordo there.
I think Buffalo win, but I'm still sticking with Kansas City.
And the reason I say that, I think it's just their turn. I think it's just their year.
Yeah. I think that I really do think
It'll be Buffalo's year because I got rid of Josh Allen's card at the when I did.
At the side card.
The sport card that I had of him, it was going at a good price, and now it's probably skyrocketed.
the card for you to get, the card for you to get is Jalen Daniels.
Yeah.
Especially after he knock off Hurts and them boys.
Yeah.
I can't wait, man, for that game, man. Man, about to put a hurt on Hurts.
Is that all the picks?
Yeah, there's only 2 picks.
Wow.
Hey, Nate, early on, now you and I had a disagreement about Philly and also Pittsburgh. And I tried to tell you Pittsburgh wasn't a good team.
Oh, well, Pittsburgh did what they did.
I told you what they rode on. They happen to have, you say what you want, but they happen to have one of the better.
Yeah, they're not a good team. I agree.
As an organization and coach, they have one of the better ones they're around. You hear that, Pat?
They just don't have. They don't have no talent.
Yeah, I heard that, Gordon. I couldn't go through a whole show without playing that.
I know. I was waiting for it earlier when we talked about it. They didn't brought it up.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good night, Pittsburgh! Pittsburgh sucks! Pittsburgh sucks! Pittsburgh sucks! Pittsburgh sucks!
Oh, I feel better now.
I mean, look, you know, I'm gonna tell you something. That is an appropriate tune when you look at Pittsburgh, especially at the end of the season. Their last 5 games, Pittsburgh sucks. Yeah, they don't have any talent there. They're not like Cleveland, but they're.
But I told you early on, Nate. I said, Nate, they are a team of overachievers.
Oh, I think so. I agree. I can't.
But
even
you argued me down.
Yeah, well, that's because I thought that they would make some better decisions. I thought that I didn't know that they were really trying to manipulate the draft status and ensure that Justin didn't get an appropriate amount of. I don't think they lose all those games with Justin Fields in there.
All I got to say is this. You know what? Sometimes it pays. Listen to your big brother.
You know what? You know what? On this one, I can't say nothing, but you're right. But on the Commanders, if that game is called, I'm gonna make sure we record the holds that Philly gets away with.
And this is what they say now. They say you can call hold on every play in the NFL. I don't know.
Well, just calling on a few of them. That's all I'm saying. I'm like, but do it on both sides of the ball.
We gonna see.
I'm like,
because don't get me wrong, Philly is very beatable, very beatable. I don't think that they are. It's not a stretch to say that the Commanders couldn't win that game. And the sad part about that is, man, NFC next year, because I'll make a prediction now, say the Giants are going to get better, and Cowboys, man, we're going to be naked but last next year.
No, it'd be y'all's year next year.
Yeah, it's going to be our year, though. You're right. It's going to be our year.
Yep, it's going to be our year.
Man, it's going to be our year.
And after all of it, you know what? Pittsburgh will still.
Pittsburgh sucks! Pittsburgh sucks! Pittsburgh sucks! Pittsburgh sucks!
That's 3. Did you catch that, Gordy? It's 3.
But there has been some real highlights during the season. And for me, one of the highlights for me, y'all, was enjoying the Candors send Tampa Bay home. I loved it. I was glad to see them go to the playoffs, and I was even happier to see them go home.
Yeah, it's just Baker. Baker's always going to be Baker.
I was so glad. It was bigly.
Yeah. some of the stuff that comes, you can say what he wants. He's a fairly decent quarterback, but
He is.
some of the
He
stuff
is.
that happens with him, though, the fumbles, there was the one thing that actually beat them and sent them home was the fact that they couldn't hand off the damn ball to save their lives. You had that one.
I was like, what
the
a
one
mistake.
handoff that wasn't Baker wasn't within 6 feet of the guy. He tried to hand it off to him, and he dropped the ball, and of course, picked it up, and that's what beat him.
I was like,
Yeah,
man, what a mistake. I was like, wonderful.
it was all strategy. But anyway, you want to wrap this up for today? I suppose we probably should. Next coming up is tomorrow night. A lot of especially if you're in the Cleveland area, a lot of this this team that used to be around here called Big Chuck and Little John. Actually, It started out with Ghilardi.
Yeah, it used to be Big Chuck and Houlihan.
And it was Big Chuck and Houlihan. Well, Big Chuck Shadowski passed away at the age of 90 last weekend. And personally, I've been in and around places where those guys have been, and it was really just tore me up to see that he passed. So what we're going to do tomorrow night, I'm going to do a kind of a highlight show of him. We're going to do the first half hour, more than likely the first half hour of the show, or the first topic of Radioactive is going to be devoted to the clips and everything that he was responsible for. This guy has done so much. He produced shows for 50 some years, and it was always, whenever he did a clip, it was always based on Cleveland. He used his own vehicle to if they needed a car, he used his own car. If he needed, I think his wife was in it. There was a secretary that was in it. It was all based in Cleveland, and it really showed off the whole area of Cleveland. Be it some of it was back in the 60s and 70s. But we're going to do a highlight. We're going to highlight him and do a tribute to him for the part of the show tomorrow night. I don't know what else is coming with that, but I am planning on doing a highlight thing. Then we got Monday night. We got The Art of Argument, which is Dale Piles and I sit and argue about politics. We got several things we're going to talk about. There's some idiot things that have happened with cabinet choices and everything else, and we're going to that'll be Monday night at 8, and then we'll be right back here Friday or Saturday morning, if Shawn can get out of bed. We'll be back here for Four Guys on Sports. So that about wraps us up for this week. Anything else, you guys, before we head out of here?
Just a question, though. Is Lil Jon still alive?
Yeah, he's the only one left. And he's doing pretty well. Do you know how they met? I did a little research on this. Little John was running Rinaldi's jewelry. And he wanted to put some commercials on TV. Well, Chuck was the one that was in charge of producing the commercials. And when he saw how funny and that Rinaldi was, he says, "Why don't you and I do a series together?" And that's how that whole thing started. That partnership started. It was because Rinaldi went to advertise his jewelry store on Channel 8. And they lasted 50-some years. But anyway, if that wraps us up for this week, we will go ahead and do the outro here. And see y'all next week. Shawn, get out of bed at 9 o'clock. And see y'all next week. We are the Four Guys on Sports Show. See ya. This has been a Crooked River Media production.